Good evening. It's late in the evening. I took a nap earlier and then I had pizza and all the other stuff. Just been busy. Second City stuff. I was working on that, a little bit of that. So I've been keeping myself busy. Obviously, lately I've been working on the Sony Spider-Verse thing. But like we did, me and Anna did a little bit with Spider-Man 3 and stuff like that. I decided recently watched, if you remember our video that's up right now, we watched the four Batman movies, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman Robin recently, and gave our thoughts on that and stuff like that. And Anna didn't want to participate in this, but I decided I was going to kind of do what I've done with other pitches, with like the horror pitches that I have and some of you guys have watched, and various other things. And kind of try to figure out a way to make these movies more connected. Just because there's like certain weird things where certain people are reprising their characters for all four movies, but yet other characters have been recast, and there's like it's not acknowledged, or no one will talk about it. So I'm like, well, what if we did something like, if this was, imagine if you will, and granted this would have been 90s, 89 to 97, 99 about, so we're looking like 10 years of movies here. Maybe not all in a row, but if someone had laid out something like here's a 5-year plan and almost a way to get eventually a Justice League type thing. But and this is all just imaginary, this is all just for fun. But I just think there's this, as you're watching movies, you're just kind of like, oh, they made this connection here, or maybe we explain why this is happening. I figure let's go with that. As far as changes to the movies that we've seen, we start with Batman 89. Now, as I talked about, Batman 89 is pretty darn good. And I think it holds up pretty well. Nicholson's great. Keaton's great. Vicky Bale's fine. All that good stuff. Bob. Now, the only thing I would change in this, and this is kind of per Anna, is that I would switch Vicky Vale and Knox as far as what they do. Vicky Vale would be a reporter, more like she is in the comics, and Knox could just be her Jimmy Olsen type of photographer. Now, Anna said that, she wouldn't have minded if he was killed because he was annoying to her. Which is, okay. We don't have to kill him, but maybe he gets, taken out or something. I'm not going to kill him. He's just kind of there. So, that's fine. But anyway, I would leave the ending a little more ominous. Since, when they made the first movie, obviously, they didn't know if it was going to be a success. Batman thing hadn't been done since '66 area, so it's like, is anyone going to even watch this shit? And it was a success, obviously, so then the sequel, of course, was planned. But had they actually laid this out, you can make some tweaks. Now, there is a tendency, and I've noticed this even with Marvel films, too, where they have this villain, you're like, oh, cool, they're doing this villain. And then they kill the villain off. And it's just like, but. And much like with Spider-Man, how I think Sam Raimi regretted killing off the Green Goblin so quickly. I don't think we should kill the Joker off. Or we should at least leave it ominous that maybe he's dead. As opposed to him falling to his death and he's just dead. Let's leave it more ominous, Not like total cliffhanger, but like, let's not just kill Jack Nicholson's Joker off. Because he's going to be back at some point. Not right away. But we're going to keep it kind of ominous. Joker is assumed dead. Just a quick little thing. No big deal. Alright, so basically that's the first movie. Not too many changes other than we're not killing off Joker and Vicky Vale's a reporter. So then we go into some changes for Batman Returns. Now, the biggest complaint that a lot of people have made, and not saying that everyone has, because some people are like, no, that's fine, is the whole penguin being an actual penguin mutant creature and having clowns for some reason. So I thought to myself, if we just make Danny DeVito's fine. There's no reason to take him out of the role. He's fine in the role. But I want to make some character changes, because a lot of times they're doing that, they just threw in some made-up characters like Max Schreck and things like that. But I feel as though, let's just go with the comics a little bit more. Let's use actual characters from the comics instead of these made-up characters. So, what I would do is, in terms of casting, Billy D. Williams is going to be in this damn movie, and he's going to be Harvey Dent, because that's what was originally supposed to happen, and damn it, let's give Billy D. Williams some damn work, because Billy D. Williams deserves it. I don't even know why he wasn't back. It was such a weird thing. It was just totally unexplained, and I never heard a reason of why. Like, was there issues with the studio? Was there just, I don't really know. And pretty progressive casting at the time, too, because, in the comics, Harvey Dent's white, but they were going with Billy Dee Williams, and honestly, even as a kid, I had no problem with that. Are there certain situations where it just feels like pandering and casting things like that? Yeah, but honestly, I didn't know much about Harvey Dent from the comics. I don't think I read that much at that point. I was a kid, so it was just kind of like, oh, okay, this guy's I just knew he's Harvey Dent. I didn't know anything about Two-Face at the time. I just thought oh, he's Harvey Dent. He's just playing some mayor or lawyer character or something. So I really didn't know that much about him. So especially now, at that time, it's like, oh, cool. I was just like, hey, it's Lando. Cool. It's a Colt 45 bad guy. So, yeah, but Billy Dee Williams, come on. Let's keep him in there. So he is going to be our Two-Face. And and this will be a setup for him to be Two-Face into Batman Forever, obviously, which was originally the plan. I would also want to establish is an actual friendship between him and Bruce Wayne, because they never interacted at all in the first movie. Now I'm not going to necessarily change them interacting in the first movie, but they never really interacted at all. So I would have this movie be kind of like a nice. They've developed a friendship, and Bruce Wayne is doing a little bit more at Wayne Enterprises and stuff like that, as opposed to doing absolutely nothing in the first movie. When he's never at work. He's just hanging out. Of course, in the beginning of this movie, he's just ominously sitting in a dark room until his thing comes on. It's like, I'm kind of bored and contemplating. Wait, the bat signal, which is always pretty funny. So anyway, yes, so we do have Billy Dee Williams in this movie. He's being Harvey Dent most of the movie until we, have the transformation scene there. Now, Danny DeVito is the Penguin, but he's going to be more of a natural, normal Penguin. And he is going to still be connected with Christopher Walken, who will not be playing this random Max Schreck character. He will be playing Falcone. Because, if you want to follow the Gotham path a little bit, which I know Gotham, played with things a bit, but, make him kind of a lower level thing towards Falcone, but he's someone who wants to move up in the organization. He wants to be the gangster in this town. He wants to be the lead guy in this town. So, he can betray Christopher Walken at some point, kind of falling out and all that stuff. So, you got that storyline. Now, I am going to keep a little bit elements of what they're doing with the Penguin, but we're going to use a different character. Not to give a 3-villain situation here, because that's not what I'm trying to do. This would be a smaller bone story. But the actor Vince Shelley, whatever you want to call him, he just played a kind of a random character in there as a side character. But he's going to be Killer Croc. Because who lives in the sewer, guys? Killer Croc. So his story would be small, where Batman would defeat him and all that stuff. But there would be kind of this sympathetic thing. We'd play with it a little bit. Maybe that's some connection with Billy Dee Williams or something like that. Is trying to help him feel, sort of take elements of Max Schreck's thing and maybe not Killer Croc for mayor, but some elements there. But we kind of take Killer Croc out eventually. He's taken away. He attacks someone. We get him out of the way. Maybe Penguin and them kind of use him a little bit. So anyway, basically Penguin and Falcone, they want to get Harvey Dent out of the way because he's trying to take down criminals. Very very Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. There, he's very focused on cleaning up Gotham of the scum, and that's why him and Bruce Wayne are, inclined, and him and Batman are, inclined to be respectful of each other. I'd also make sure there's more Gordon connections with Batman, which is really something that wasn't a whole lot. They don't have to be best friends, but there should be some small scenes with them. It just feels like that's one of the things that Dark Knight did really well, but it was just like, I'm here. And Gordon's an important character, but not a huge thing, but just a few acknowledgments of their friendship and relationship. Catwoman, we just keep. There's nothing to change there. Catwoman was great. It's a good character. Michelle Pfeiffer's awesome. But yeah, Michael Keaton would be more in this movie. It feels like a lot of it was spent so much time in the Penguin and then setting up Catwoman that it was like, and I'm Michael Keaton sitting here ominously. Oh, it's time for me to be on screen now. Let's see, what else did I change here? You can probably just cut the little random clown scenes. Clowns feel more jokery. unless you're going with kind of the circus freak element of Killer Croc. So I guess you could have him there. You take or leave it. Let's see. But yes, basically, two little things are going to happen. We will have the scene where Two-Face gets, the stuff thrown in his face. We can still have Falcone get electrocuted by Catwoman the same way. Almost hinting, is Catwoman really gone? Like they did. So that can still happen. Penguin could get taken out as well. And then maybe even Penguin's the one that makes Two-Face. Maybe he throws the stuff in Two-Face's face. And they kidnap him, and then that works. So Penguin will be the one who, basically makes Two-Face. So then Billy D. Williams is carted off. Batman takes him to the hospital and all that stuff. And then we'll have two things that'll happen towards the end of the movie. We will see Catwoman is still alive, of course. We'll still have that shot. But we'll also have, the ominous kind of Billy D. Williams Two-Face face, and then kind of him flipping a coin. And we can play with the flipping the coin a little bit like they did a little bit in The Dark Knight. But, flipping the coin occasionally on a decision. But, then we just have Billy D. Williams laugh maniacally as sort of he's going to be a villain in this next movie. But then we're also going to have a scene where Batman, after, he gets the cat and all that. That's a nice little scene. But, after a minute or so or whatever, he gets kind of pulled off into the darkness. So what this does, guys, is because we're sticking with castings I'm not trying to change too many castings, I might use someone who is, like I said, putting Billy D. Williams in this movie. It's pulling him from the first movie, but he was established in the first movie. We're not just throwing any random actor in there. But Michael Keaton has to be pulled away for a while, which ties into the storyline that will lead to our final movie in this 5-movie thing, because we are building up to Batman Triumphant. So Batman Returns ends on Two-Face being formed and Michael Keaton's Batman disappearing. So we go into the next movie, Batman Forever, and now Val Kilmer's there. And what I want to do is kind of make it so that when Alfred is communicating to him, or maybe if Gordon's interacting with him, we don't see him we see him from the back whenever he's talking to them. So in their mind, what they see is Michael Keaton's Batman. So they don't even see Val Kilmer's face. Everybody watching will see Val Kilmer's face and be kind of confused, why is no one acknowledging the fact that he completely looks different? In the Batman suit, not as much, but when he's out of the costume, it's who the hell is this guy? Other little casting changes here. Jim Carrey's still great as the Riddler. Tommy Lee Jones is in this movie, so we have to change him since we have Billy D. Williams here. Tommy Lee Jones can pretty much do the same thing, except he's going to be Black Mask, and he can still be responsible for Robin's parents' death. That still gives an angle for Robin. And I would play more like Billy D. Williams is kind of reluctantly a villain. He's sort of the Two-Face. There's definitely more of a reluctance. There's a dynamic with him and Bruce Wayne where we definitely can see that he's fighting. I want him to be more not necessarily a sympathetic villain, but there's an inner turmoil going on there, so that we can kind of because Two-Face is kind of a tragic villain in a way, because he kind of just gets scarred, and then one half of him is, and granted it's a mental thing really, but we play off of that a little bit, and towards the end Two-Face can end up in Arkham, and same as the Riddler. Black Mask can be killed off. We have to kill him off. We're going to kill a villain off. It's going to be Black Mask. Also, we can say the Penguin was killed off too if you want, or he can go in Arkham. Either way, whatever you want to do with it, we can go either way on that. But let's say he's out of the picture. Catwoman's not around right now either. We're not necessarily saying everyone's dead, but Black Mask, we'll go ahead and decent character, but Tommy Lee Jones isn't going to come back. So we got that set up. Nicole Kidman would be Silver St. Cloud, but we could still keep her as a doctor and all that. Change a little bit of her character rather than just being a socialite. That way she's an actual character. I consider having her be Leslie Tompkins, but then I looked it up, and Leslie Tompkins is a really old lady who is more like a mother figure to Batman, and I'm just ew. So I'm let's not go there. Yes, we got that. What else is set up here? Yes, obviously Alfred is the same actor as is Gordon. As I said, we would explain that. We still have Chris O'Donnell and the Robin story, still pretty much the same. No real changes there. After he goes to Arkham and sees the Riddler, Val Kilmer is also pulled away. Because he's not going to be in the next movie because we had another casting thing. I never understood why Val Kilmer wasn't back. Maybe he just wanted to do the one movie. Who knows? I don't know all the details. But that leads us into Batman and Robin. Two-Face and Riddler are locked up in Arkham. Let's say the Penguin is too. We won't kill the Penguin. I'm not trying to kill most of these villains. Black Mask we will, but because Tommy Jones will come back. But anyway, and we're gonna make some switching on the casting changes a little bit here. Because I love, as much as joy as fun as it was, as a lover of puns, as you know from watching this channel, and my puns of the day, as much as I enjoyed Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, it did feel like if you're going to have Bane in this movie, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger right there, who's already pretty built and pretty big, and, he's not super tall, but he's big. He has a presence, that he should be Bane. But more established, give him still some good, story going on here. Because I feel like he should still be the muscle without being just a background character driving Poison Ivy and muttering stupid words. He's not stupid. I think he should be very, a little more like he was in Dark Knight Rises. But, it's Schwarzenegger still. So, there might be some quippiness here and there. But, this would be a way to build him up. But I wouldn't have him be right there at the beginning, because we're going to have John Glover be Mr. Freeze. Switching him from Floronic Man, which was a random character, and he gets killed off in 10 minutes. John Glover deserves better than that. So, I would say let's have John Glover start, and then he, of course, makes Poison Ivy, so there's tension between them the whole time. He doesn't make her know. Poison Ivy becomes Poison Ivy some other way. Whatever. I'm not really too worried about, Uma Thurman just needs to give a better performance than what they gave. But she's still a big element of it. So, yeah. She can be more connected with Bane. We can have that connection happen still for the time being. But John Glover's going to be doing the Mr. Freeze stuff, because I think he can give some eloquence to it. He's not as big and as intimidating, but he can definitely play a villain if you've seen him on Smallville. He also did voices for the animated series, so it's a nice callback to that. But we'll be playing with him as the Mr. Freeze character instead. And we can either, we can kind of play fast and loose. There's 3 villains, so that's a little bit to juggle. But we also have 3 heroes, because we still have Batgirl, who, by the way, is not Alfred's frickin' niece. She's Gordon's frickin' daughter. So Gordon will be, a little more in this instead of just randomly being seduced once by Poison Ivy and then you never see him again. So it's there'll be more, maybe a few scenes here and there. Instead of the scenes with Alfred, she can have scenes with, not that she won't have any scenes with Alfred, but, she can have scenes with Gordon instead. And Clooney is here now. So similar to the Val Kilmer thing, when Alfred or Gordon is talking to him, they still see Michael Keaton. So that's still ominous. You're still kind of wondering, okay, well, what's happening with Michael Keaton and them being taken out? So what's going to happen basically is we will have a big battle. Mr. Freeze is defeated, but they got some sympathy for him. They try to help him out, and they, similar storyline. He helps Alfred and all that. You can keep that element of it because that was nice. So sorry, someone clicked on my thing. Anyway, back to me. So yeah, with Mr. Freeze is written out, Poison Ivy can be locked up in Arkham. We still stick with that. But we are going to do, much like in Dark Knight Rises, Batman's going to get his back broken right towards the end of the movie. So that's going to leave him kind of, down and out. Robin's like, no. And so Robin and Batgirl have to kind of guard Gotham. They are able to stop Bane from doing any more damage at this time. They are able to get him to be locked up. And we'll kind of, this sort of takes Batman out of the picture a little bit towards the end of the movie. But, as with usual, Batman recovers eventually. But that gives us somewhere to go into our final movie, Batman Triumphant. And we can also see that Batman is carted away again. It's like, why are all these Batman being carted away? But what I would also do is I would have a heavily bearded Michael Keaton pop up as sort of a last-minute cameo at the end, breaking out of Arkham. So that we kind of tease into this. Keaton is back, baby. And he's kind of, almost kind of like how he looked in The Flash a little bit. But a little bit younger then. So that builds us to our Batman Triumphant, which I saw the basic premise of Batman Triumphant, and I was like, yeah, no. So there's going to be some fast and loose with the casting here and who people are and how things have gone about. So here is what we're going to go with. So, yes, Michael Keaton is the actual Bruce Wayne. He was taken out, held captive in Arkham, whatever the case. We can go into a full story there once it's done. But basically, he's kind of been held in Arkham during this time. And that was kind of tied with the Riddler a little bit. It was tied with the other character, which is, of course, if you didn't guess, is Clayface. Which is why, when they looked at him, they saw Michael Keaton's face, because Clayface can change his appearance. But you're also wondering, well, who the hell is Val Kilmer and George Clooney? Are they Clayface? They are not. They are not. Because what I'm going to do in this is we're going to sort of be slowly setting up a potential Justice League. Now, no, they're not Superman or, the Flash or anything like that. So what I've decided, just based off their character looks and stuff, is Val Kilmer is going to be Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow. And we will have George Clooney be Blue Beetle Ted Kord, who is also a billionaire. So there we go. Boom, boom, boom. Now, those aren't the biggest, DC characters, but it's a way to kind of set the stage. But this would be a very almost Avengers-style movie. Now, granted, in '99, that budgets and things like that. But basically, some reveals will be happening, almost like we're building up to a big movie. So, yes, Michael Keaton is back. He shaves. He ends up connecting with Val Kilmer and George Clooney. So all three of them are together, along with Robin and Batgirl. And they're kind of trying to solve who this person is or why this Clayface took over their life. And kind of just impersonated them and stuff like that. Now, Clayface will be played by Nicolas Cage, because who knows more about facing off than Nicolas Cage. And Nicolas Cage will be, of course, at his most, insanity face performance. But what we're doing with him as well, somebody else will be working at Arkham, and that is Jeff Goldblum, who will be playing the Scarecrow, Jonathan Crane. So he's there. He's working there. And Harley Quinn will be involved, but she's not going to be the Joker's daughter, because that's just weird. Because their relationship. I decided to go with Sarah Michelle Gellar, because they had like Madonna or Courtney Love. I'm like, what? No, that's dumb. So we're going with Sarah Michelle Gellar. We're going a little bit younger. So somehow she's Jack Napier's daughter. How he had this daughter between movies, I don't know. It's explained somehow. That's strange. Maybe she doesn't know her father. But anyway, in her mind, the Joker's dead and Batman killed her. Batman killed him. So we think that she ends up meeting, she works at Arkham as well. So she ends up meeting, so we won't go with the Joker relationship thing. Well, he's not the daughter. That's right. We just said that's dumb. So, all right. She works there. And she meets Jonathan Crane, and she's like, she's kind of obsessed with the Joker and like what happened to him and all that. And she also meets Clayface, and he says, yes, I'm working for someone who really wants to take him down. And there's a reason we want to take him down. He ruined my benefactor's entire life. So it's going to lead to a big showdown. And at this point is when we reveal that, yes, Jack Nicholson is alive. The Joker is alive. And he's been pulling the strings from Arkham this entire time. But he's already kind of brainwashed a lot of the staff. He's the one that kind of gave the fear gas idea to Scarecrow. He's kind of the mastermind behind all this, because it's the Joker and he's crazy. And, he wants revenge. And that's why Batman was kidnapped. That's why all these other guys were kidnapped. Anytime someone was in place, it was kidnapped, although he was really kidnapping. So when they were kidnapped, they weren't Clayface being kidnapped. They were the actual other characters. As far as where Green Arrow and Blue Beetle fit in the story, they were just kind of... They also had some villains that they were taking care of near Gotham, and they got kind of wiped up in this thing. So, they have a reason to be there. And that ties kind of all the Batmans together and explains why the connections are not there and why these other characters why do these people look different, and we're not acknowledging it. So this way we're kind of acknowledging it. So it would be a big fight. Of course the villains would, be betrayed or not be betrayed, but they would, we don't have to kill any of them off necessarily, but they're all going back in Arkham, or you could kill them off. You could go either way on it. If you wanted to end Jack Nicholson's Joker, you could at this moment kill him if you wanted to. Although Batman doesn't kill, right? Jonathan Crane would be defeated and committed, and Harley Quinn would be, all of them are just basically wiped out. I would also have maybe a Catwoman cameo, and that could lead to a Catwoman movie with Michelle Pfeiffer, not Halle Berry. Nothing against Halle Berry, but come on. But they had been talking about making a Catwoman spinoff. She can interact with Bruce. She hasn't seen him in a while. They interact. There's a nice little scene with them. And then, him and Green Arrow and them were talking and having a good time. And then, the biggest surprise cameo, setting up our potential Justice League movie, is Christopher Reeve is back as Superman. Here we go. Boom. There's your Justice League movie setup. And eventually, there would be a Wonder Woman introduction and all that type of stuff. This is how we're doing a little shared universe before a shared universe happens here, even before the Dark Knight happens. Now, granted, this is a world where the Dark Knight has not happened, or may not happen, and this movie is a success, assuming this was a success. But yes, we'd get Christopher Reeve back, even if it's a cameo, even if it doesn't lead anywhere. And I know technically Nicolas Cage was supposed to work on Superman, and yeah, that's weird. But anyway, we gave him this Clayface role instead. So there would be a lot of big name actors in this. So yeah, budget wise, I'm sure this would be super expensive, and I understand why Batman Triumphant was not made, because of all the budget they wanted to have, bring all the villains back for this one scene. And obviously, this is not realistic. I understand contracts and Hollywood and all this stuff, and it was 99. The CGI was terrible and still untested. But this is just a pitch. This is just an idea of what you could have done to make some connections had you known casting changes were going to happen. So that's basically the premise of it, guys. So that's pretty much it, guys. A 5-movie setup with a couple changes and casting changes along the way, and a reason for the story. I'm not saying it's the best story in the world. I'm not a full-on screenwriter. These are just ideas that I was seeing from watching the film. And it'll be a fun way to set up a Justice League movie and Catwoman spinoff and things like that. Alright guys, cool. So that is my idea for what we would do with the Batman 89 onto Batman Triumphant, and a way to connect them. So hope you enjoyed this, guys. Let me know what ideas you would do or changes you might make. Or if you wouldn't make any changes at all, and I'm just completely out of my mind. Alright guys, cool. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the puns of the day. I'll be back with one of those tomorrow, and maybe I'll do another video tomorrow. I got to think on what to do. I want to do more reenactments too. But anyway, like and subscribe, and have a good night, guys.